Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host. And joining me, as always, my go-to podcast compadres, Mr. Joe Lever.
Hello, Mr. Jimmy Good.
Well, hello, Mr. Lever, and Mr. Levi Fletcher. Levi, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm doing real Jimmy Good.
That's the
I want to throw up for that pun. I'm sorry.
That's a new one. I haven't heard that one before yet, but I will take it. If you're wondering to yourself, if anyone's ever made fun of my last name before, yes, they definitely have. My favorite maybe was the ones who come up, they're like, hey, your parents ever think about giving your middle name a B in there? You'd be Jimmy B. Good. Maybe they should have named you Johnny B. Good. And I'm like, yeah.
And they lost an elbow that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like,
and well, guess what? Joke's on everybody else because he's an heir to the Good Bar Foundation or fortune.
Empire. Yeah, exactly. The Mr. Good Bars, that's my family. Yeah, that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I just I'm like, I'm getting out of the candy game. I'm getting into the podcast.
Well, we all know that fund, that what's it called? The hedge fund. It's out a little ways, so you got to do something to tide yourself over. But everybody go buy Mr. Good Bars and support Jimmy.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Definitely not sponsored. Also, I'm really not a fan of those bars. Have you guys ever had them?
They're not good.
No, they're not great.
Unintended, they're not good.
Great.
We're slaughtering Jimmy's last name. Let's move on.
Anyway, yes, thank you, everybody. This isn't a candy podcast, but it could be if you guys really wanted to. I'm sure we could find a way to crunch 2 hours in. Oh, see, look at that. That was another candy joke. If you're tuning in for the first time, we like talking about movies, games, TV shows, anything in entertainment, basically. But for everybody else who's tuning in, for week after week, thank you so much. We love hearing that you guys are watching the show. We'll try to remember to do a hashtag at the end of the show, because I know Ryan asked for it last week. He's like, I don't remember there being something at the end of the show, so we'll try to think of something at the end. Anyway, let's get into some news. We're not going to talk about this too much. We talked about it last week. I just want to update. Aquaman has passed over $1 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest grossing DC films of all time, which, again, you compare it to its brethren, and inflation is obviously involved, but was like, well, there you go, Aquaman. Kudos to you, Mr. Momoa. He's probably like, yeah, all right, there you go, Mr.
Well, was there ever any question after that stellar trailer we got?
Well, especially the 5-minute one. It made me so nervous. I was like, they're showing so much. And I was like, oh no. Like, it's like a proof of concept at this point. I was like, ooh.
Those trailers are sketchy. Like, Levi and I both had the same feelings. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I bet they were like, we have to show 5 minutes of this movie or no one's going to go see this.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad, though. Like, I'd rather have you guys or myself, like, look down on a trailer and then be, like, pleasantly surprised, as opposed to the opposite, where it's like, if we saw, like, a new Avengers and we're like, oh my God, the trailer's amazing. We saw the movie, we're like, it was horrible. Like, so it's a happy surprise. Thanks. Which is great. Along with the movie news, I do want to touch on this for just a second. Christopher McQuarrie has now signed on. After turning down DC to do some movies, he's actually going to be filming 2 Mission Impossibles back to back, baby. Yeah, it's going to be 1 year right after another. So it's like, I think 2021 and 2022 is the rough estimate right now. Or it could be 2020 and 2021. Either way, I don't know about you guys. I really enjoyed Rogue Nation. I think a lot of people forget about it. But Fallout, I think, is so freaking good, and I'm stoked for that. Levi, how do you feel about this?
What's the question?
It's like, are you excited about more Mission Impossibles?
Oh, like, okay, yeah. I mean, as a new fan of the series, I'm really excited because the last one blew me away. I know I looked down on them, and I was like, oh, those are just meathead films. And Jimmy, what the hell are you doing in that game? Like.
In that game.
And I'm just like, okay, I'll give it a shot. If Jimmy likes it, Jimmy's got some good taste. I'll check it out.
I tried.
And I'm glad you showed it to me, pal, because it's a really good movie series.
Did you
much better than Fast and the Furious. So.
Yeah. Did you start watching the other ones yet, Levi? You watched Ghost Protocol.
I watched all of them. Yeah.
Oh, you watched all of them. Okay. Do you have a ranking right now?
I don't care much for Rogue Nation. I thought it was just okay.
Sure.
I thought just the different cast kind of, just kind of bugged me a bit. Those like where Jeremy Renner was like he was gone that film, right? Or was he still in there? Yeah, and that kind of bugged me. So, yeah.
So wait, what about Fallout? I guess if Fallout was your first one, you kind of want more Jeremy Renner, but in that one you didn't really know what you're missing, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because for me, I just was like, I don't care if Jeremy Renner is here or not. I'm like,
it was weird that he actually added a pretty good, you know, I don't really see him in a lot of stuff, so to see him in that film series, I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, fair enough. Joe, I know that you talked about watching Fallout with your family recently, and that was like, oh, that's just, I can't imagine just sitting down with the wife and the in-laws, or actually no, your parents, and just like watching it. But for you, 2 more missions, are you accepting?
I am accepting. I think it was a smart decision on his part to go with them instead of DC because one's risky, one's a sure bet type of thing.
That's true, and I feel bad because like I'm happy that DC's trying to get this type of talent to like bring on board, obviously. But at the same time, I could see where he's looking at all the stuff DC's doing and kind of them being so reactionary, and he's thinking, no, I can craft like this amazing like action film franchise that has no like real lore that ties it down in any way, and also use as many practical effects as I possibly want, because DC would be like, yeah, you got to use CG. Like he'd be like, no, I don't want to do that as much if I can help it. That's what they would all be. So not that CG is bad in all cases, but for him it seems like he's done wonders without it. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I'm stoked. I love Mission Impossible. I'm like, people are so against Tom Cruise, but the dude's going to be like in his 60s by the time this all wraps up, and he's still going to be in better shape than any of us, jumping off buildings.
That man doesn't age. Go watch Top Gun and then go watch, Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing right now. They're like filming Top Gun 2, and McQuarrie is actually helping. He's like doing some writing for it. He's coming in to help with that. So it's like, oh, that's really cool that he's like following Tom around and they're kind of working together on all these things. So Top Gun 2 might be like pretty good. Like I was like, oh, cool, because first Top Gun, I don't know if you guys have seen it. I think it's fine. I don't know. It's like cheesy 80s kind of stuff. I don't know if you guys have either of you seen Top Gun?
Yeah, it's just like a classic, film. I don't know what to say about it. It's just like your classic 80s film.
Sure. Yeah. Joe, how about you? Did you see Top Gun?
Just the highlights.
Exactly. Like the volleyball, the boys playing some volleyball in between flying planes, or just their shirts off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, Goose.
Highlight. Goose. Everybody loves and hate. Yeah. It's just, yeah. Spoiler alert. Goose is dead. All right. He's not coming back unless he comes back. Just like, no, it was a highlight. Yeah, but that's kind of what I wanted to kind of discuss about movie news. Let's talk about something, though, that's kind of affecting the games industry a little bit. Now, I'm going to be the first one to say I don't understand all the nuances of this. I've tried to look into it a little bit, but the legality, it's a little too much for me. All I know is that Bungie, the guys who made Halo, they've been making Destiny, and they partnered with Activision to make Destiny. They're splitting up. And guess what? They get the kid. They get the Destiny. They got the rights to Destiny, and they're taking the kid away from Activision.
Because Activision didn't care. It's dead anyway.
I don't know if that's the case necessarily. Maybe, but okay, it's not dead. We can't say it's dead. But I want to talk about this because we've all had a relationship with Bungie in one way or another. I know Joe is a little bit more newer as far as like the Destiny stuff, and where Levi's like the other end of that, where he's been a Halo fan for just years and years and years and years, and I'm kind of in the middle. But I want to talk about this because it could be the start of something new, something really cool, especially with Destiny. I don't know what's going to happen with that franchise. It could be better or worse, but as other people have said, now it's all on them, which is kind of like, it's cool, but it's also like, ooh, like if you screw up now at Bungie, it might be like the swan song. Levi, for you, let's start with you as a big fan of Halo and stuff, and now you Destiny a little bit. How do you feel about this news?
I was reading an article, and I know Activision put Bungie on an extreme schedule to get Destiny 2 out in a timely fashion, and you can tell that they weren't ready to do that because they had the bones. They have the bones in the game. They were there, but you had nothing with it. There was no end game. There was nothing to really keep players interested, and that's on Activision's fault, I think. Because it looks like Bungie did their part. They had the art, they have the story, they have like their stuff down, but Activision pushed them too fast, and so they weren't able to flesh it all out. And I feel like Destiny 2 could have been a comeback to form for them had Activision given it more room to breathe and actually, be fleshed out.
Sure. So are you hopeful for the future now of Destiny now that it's in Bungie's hands entirely?
I mean, it's going to take a lot for me to try to trust that franchise again. And not just Bungie's fault, but like I'm going to be really leery about spending another $60 on any kind of Destiny title, honestly.
Sure.
I probably won't, unless it's like, oh my God, it's the coming of video game Jesus. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's a good point. I remember when they first launched Destiny and they talked about this back at E3 that was a while ago now, but they're saying like they're going to support this franchise for like 10 years. I almost think it'd be more interesting if Bungie would have left Activision and said, you know what, Activision, you keep Destiny. We're going to go make our own thing. Like there's something that would be kind of maybe romantic to me about like thinking, oh, what could this team do without that? But I think having that name and that recognition, and it has sold very well and it's reviewed pretty well. So I think kind of trying to work with what they've got as opposed to being like scrap it, make a new thing. It's probably just smarter financially.
Yeah, I mean, it bugs me because there's a lot to Destiny that I really do like. We talk about a lot of shit on this channel about, we flame on it a lot, but honestly, there are a lot to Destiny that I really do like, and I had a ton of fun with you boys the first game, and then I had a ton of fun with you boys the second game, but it wasn't enough fun.
Yeah,
it was like a month, not even a month. We had a probably good couple weeks, and then we were like, when's Monster Hunter coming out? Like it just went to
Yeah, you're right. I think that's the problem, I guess, for me too, is that it felt like every year when Destiny 2, for now, if we want to jump back into it, we'd have to probably, from what I remember, we'd probably have to buy a lot to like play it again or get to where everyone else is, which is really weird to me. And I don't like how that was kind of the mentality. It was like, make the first game, make an expansion, make the next game, make like a big, like a year later, a big expansion. It always felt like the first like one game wasn't enough.
They were trying to be the shooter world, like a World of Warcraft shooter style. And it's like, you can't do that because you don't have a big enough player base to do that.
Come out like Call of Duty, come out like on a yearly basis. And it's like, you don't, there aren't like different teams doing this. And it just made it feel like the second game was just a little bit more of like an expansion to the expansion. And I just feel like that's not enough. Like I want a leap, with the next game. I always want a sequel to feel like, and that's one of my problems with the smaller title, even though it's still AAA, is like Just Cause 3 to Just Cause 4. It felt more like a lateral move as opposed to like a forward move.
Yeah.
And so like that saddens me.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of take that back about the World of Warcraft thing because actually the way World of Warcraft is operating these days is like they come out with a new expansion, players swarm, and they go right to that new expansion and then they're done after like a month. And that shouldn't be the gaming mentality.
Well, the problem,
people involved.
Well, the problem I think is like you try to do like the daily thing, or you try to keep people coming back every day. But people, I think, game developers underestimate how ravenous the consumer base is and how quickly they can consume content. Because you'll play it internally, and I'm sure they're thinking, okay, we're probably gonna get a few weeks out of this. People will take them a while, but there are people who will just like, oh, new Warcraft comes out, they're taking work off, and they're like, I will play this game for like 4 days straight. Like, I'm just going to play it, and like they go through it like, I'm done, I'm out. I like level cap.
I did that shit for Master Chief Collection, and fuck you, 343.
Hey, they've come back. At least I can't say Master Chief Collection has, but I will say that Halo 5 was the game that we've gone back to a few times, and that game still feels pretty damn good. The story's not great. I'm not going to defend the story. I think the story's stupid. I don't know how many times the Master Chief has to save the entire galaxy before anyone thinks like, oh, he's going rogue. It's like, no, he's not. Like, why would he go rogue now? He's like, now is the time to strike. But yeah, I'm hoping Halo Infinite's good though, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I'm still fuming about that. I literally took like a week off work, and then the servers didn't work. Nothing works for Master Chief. I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here. Okay,
go for it.
Because they're fixing that game now, and it's like 6 years too fucking late.
Yeah, totally.
I will jump back into the Master Chief Collection every once in a while. It's a nice set of games. Put Halo 5 in there, and you're golden.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping those rumors are true that like the Halo Infinite campaign and story stuff will launch this year, and then the multiplayer they said might launch like next year. Just like, oh, maybe it'll be like they release it in November or September, and then it comes out like in January. I don't know why they would have to separate that, but we'll see. I'm interested to know what 343 is doing.
So, Jimmy, I have a segue question for you.
Oh, segue question. Hit me with it. I love them. Right around.
Activision is also involved with Blizzard.
Yeah.
So I know that they were like Blizzard on their Blizzard like client. They were also promoting Destiny.
Yes, and they're still going to do that.
Yep, and they're like promoting COD too, I think. So, do you think that is Activision the problem? Do you feel like Activision is the reason? Because if they're, I mean, look at the similarities. We've got World of Warcraft, who has a expansion that's getting churned out every couple year to year, and then they were doing that with Destiny, and
Yeah, I think Blizzard has a lot of internal issues though too.
Mm-hmm.
From what we've seen and heard about Overwatch, Diablo, I think in World of Warcraft a little bit too. I think they have a lot of problems, but I think Activision could be at the forefront of that. You look at Activision and their biggest thing is Call of Duty, which I read this really weird quote that said that like people from Activision were asking like the head honchos there, like, hey, where are we going to make new IPs? We got to make new IPs. Who's going to do that? And they're like, that's what Bungie's for. So now that Bungie's gone, I think Activision just kind of is like a power plant where they're just like, yep, we do the one thing and we do it pretty well. And it's just Call of Duty all the time. And I'm not saying that Activision doesn't have other things. That's just the thing I associate with the most. I wish Blizzard could get away from them and do their own thing again, because I feel like ever since then, that partnership, it's just been weird.
And Blizzard stock has been down too, and you can see it with everything that's been going on in the last.
Activision too. I think Activision did take a hit for when Bungie left. I wish that like Blizzard could. I wish all these companies could do their own thing. But at the same time, I'm thinking, like, what if you're Microsoft though, and you're thinking like, what if we got Bungie back? You know what I mean? Like, what would you like if you're Phil Spencer? You're like, hey, like we had that Halo thing. It was pretty great, right? That's what I'm thinking. Like, I wonder if that will happen. But I wish Blizzard would branch off, and maybe Activision's the problem. I don't know. I'm sure Activision's helped them in some ways that I don't understand, but I don't know.
Well, I'm not defending Blizzard in any way. I mean, they dug themselves a little bit of a grave this year.
Sure.
Because they've got some shit. They got some shit to work on.
Yeah, the problem is they've got so many games that are just gonna like live forever. Like in a sense, like World of Warcraft has got, even though the player base is like dropped, but they still have Overwatch. They still have things that are like still doing pretty well. Just like it's still in the minds of many, but it's not like the glory Blizzard days. Like, yeah.
No, they're pulling. They're pulling development out of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, that was so sad. I know that like Joe doesn't care anything about MOBAs, but they're kind of just like this one of their games, Joe. They kind of just said they're like, you know what, we're gonna stop supporting this game soon. There's gonna be a few people who kind of tweak it once in a while, but we're not doing any more tournaments. We're not doing new characters really. We're just like we're kind of pulling away from that. It's just like if you were someone who is in like the Heroes of the Storm like gaming community, especially if you're like an esports player, I'm sure you could go to League or Dota or whatever else, but at that time it was probably like, oh, okay, like bye. Just like, and no announcement. I mean, like, or no like leeway. It was like, we're doing this, not like let's do one final tournament and let's wrap it up like that. It was just like, we're done. So like what happens when Overwatch should probably do that, honestly, like, because if you want to make, I don't know, do you like pull support from Overwatch, like new characters and stuff, and then just say like, hey, in 2 or 3 years we'll make Overwatch 2? I don't know at this point. It's so hard for me to understand living games versus like the sequels I want, it's tough. Good questions though, Levi. Yes, interviewing the interviewer. I love it. Joe, for you on your side of this, back just for a second on this, how do you feel about this? Do you want to play Destiny 3? That's the real question.
No, I learned my lesson once.
Just right, straight to the quick. No,
it's a cool concept and all, and it was fun for a month.
Yeah, but some fun.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it, I got a little bored.
Yeah, I think my problem is that I love how the game feels. Like out of any first-person shooter I've played in the last few years, and Titanfall 2 is obviously, I still think the top one, but there's something that feels so good about Destiny. Like that's like, it feels good to shoot a gun in that game. And I feel like that's a big deal. But the rest of it, I just couldn't care less about. I don't care about the stories. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about Cade 6. They'd be like, we're killing Cade 6. And I'm like, I don't freaking care. It's Nathan Fillion. I'm like, he's going to be in everything else. It's fine. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm hopeful for Bungie, but at the same time, I don't know. We'll see. Joe, if that's what you really feel, if you're kind of checked out, no more Destiny, no more 3-man raids or strikes or whatever the heck we used to do. Yeah, it was strikes. That raid was horrible, Joe. Oh, I remember
the
that
raid was
raid.
horrible. Yeah, figure out this quandary. I give up.
Also, while you're figuring out this quandary, we're gonna throw an infinite amount of enemies at you, and you're just gonna have to keep shooting. Like, it was just constant firefights.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, how do I figure out this puzzle? It was like, good luck with that, baby. Shoot an orb beam at this creature, or we never made it through the raid. Everybody, we didn't do it. I should go watch someone do it. The way to queue up for that thing was so long. It was like, oh my gosh, it was ridiculous.
Do you want to be a leader or a follower?
Then we jokingly were going to be, I think we chose to be leaders because we couldn't get in with the followers. So we brought some poor sap along with us who didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing. It was just like, good luck to us. Yeah,
that
man.
guy was pissed.
Man, that game didn't teach you anything about the raid. Like, it should have put some of that stuff in the actual campaign, so you'd have been like, oh, that's from the campaign. I recognize it, taught me how to do it. Nope, brand new things. You have no idea. Anyway, it's just a big deal, and it might be setting the precedent for other companies, like Levi said, potentially like Blizzard, to maybe leave Activision, or these bigger groups kind of to branch off and do their own thing. But you never know. Like I said, Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo are all out there, and there's always the time for a big acquisition, as we've proven in the past. If Disney has proven anything, I know it's different, but we can't count anything out yet. I'm just saying, if Microsoft buys Blizzard one day, that'd be great. That would I'd be like, well, now we're doing something, Microsoft. Which I don't know if they could actually do that, but it'd be crazy. Anyway, I don't think we have any other thoughts on this. Levi, did you have anything else you want to say about Bungie or Destiny or 343?
No, not really.
Okay. I didn't want to take away from your rants because it was good. I liked it.
Had to get it out.
Had to get it out. Good. You know what else Sony just had to get out? They had to get out a Spider-Man trailer, which I don't want to speak for people. I know Levi mentioned this earlier to me before we started, but kind of in a way, potentially, and I don't know the timeline. I tried to look at it, but it might be undercutting some of the stuff that happens in Avengers Endgame, even though I don't think anyone who saw that movie, spoilers, thought Peter is actually dead because he's Spider-Man and he just prints dollar bills, y'all. So they're never going to kill him, right? Spider-Man Far From Home trailer came out. I recommend, if you're listening to this show and you haven't seen that trailer, pause this quick, go watch it. It's just a few minutes long, and then come back here because we're going to talk about it, because you might be confused if you haven't seen it. So, Joe, as the world's biggest Spider-Man fan, what was this trailer all about?
Do you want the long or short answer to that?
The short, because I think if I do the long answer, you'll tell me about every brick in Venice. You'll be like, oh, you can see here, you can see the structures.
Yeah, that's about all I got out of it. Is Spider-Man goes to Europe and he forgets his suit, but Fury brings him a new one or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on in the film. He wants to spend time with MJ, who isn't a redhead anymore.
Yeah, she's like a different MJ, but yeah.
Yeah, she's a different MJ. There are many MJs. No big deal. But
into the MJ verse.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it bad that I'm not totally interested in Spider-Man anymore? Like, Homecoming was fine. It's not like I'm like rushing out to the theater to see it on opening weekend. It's like, if I got time to kill, I'll go see it.
Sure. Well, okay, where did they lose you?
I don't know. It doesn't have the same interest as like an Infinity War or Captain Marvel.
Sure, not as epic on a scale, right?
Perhaps. I mean, I enjoyed some of the comedy and stuff when Tony gives him the suit and all that garb, but that's all it is for me. Plus, I don't know.
They're losing you. That's fine. That's fine.
I prefer Sam Raimi's more adult Spider-Man.
Okay. I get that. So not a teenager, more so like a grown-up Peter, like living his life.
Kinda.
I get that. Yeah, he's a little more relatable, at least for us at that time.
Yeah, maybe that's it, that he's not as relatable as other characters. That could be part of it.
Well, that's kind of Spider-Man's stick, is supposed to be like relatable, like in general. So maybe when he grows up, you'll be more interested when he's like, yeah, I've got like an apartment and I got bills and I'm not just a kid who's trying to figure it all out. Like maybe
his Aunt May knows he's Spider-Man now.
Yes, which
and she's toting him around like a media.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. And then she has that weird moment with Happy where Happy's going to give her like a check for something, and they have like I don't like this whole like Marissa Tomei. Like I don't know what the inside joke is. I think Aunt May is a Skrull first off, and that's why everyone is like, there's something weird going on. Like everybody who sees her is like, oh, she's hot. Like, but everybody does it. Like, isn't that weird to anybody? Like, I'm not saying she's not attractive. I'm just saying it's like her character. Like, it's like I'm a hot older lady. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong on this. So before I jump to Levi, Joe, is there anything from this trailer you actually like? Taking that as a no. If you have to think about it that long, then
yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who the villain is. The villain looks kind of cool, but yeah, I don't know. Or is it a villain? I don't know. What is the villain? Is the gas guy with the green stuff? Is he a bad guy?
Do you want me to explain it, Levi, or should you do it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get to Levi's, I'm sorry. So that's Jake Gyllenhaal, everybody's favorite, who was actually going to play, weirdly enough, Spider-Man back in the day, because there was a time when Tobey Maguire hurt his back and was negotiating for more money, and they were going to swap him out in the same Raimi trilogy with Jake Gyllenhaal. That didn't happen, and then Jake has also been kind of rumored to play Batman, but he's playing Mysterio, and typically Mysterio in the past is this, he's this special effects guy. Like, he has a background in that, so he wears this suit and he does all these cool special effects and things, and they're mostly like, smoke and mirrors kind of like things, and they're not really real. He doesn't typically have magical powers, but he uses that to fight Spider-Man. So in the trailer here, you see him, he was like, Joe, you're like, he's like, oh, I got the laser beam kind of gas things. There's a good chance too, potentially, that those other elemental beings, you kind of see that like Hydro Man kind of looking, maybe Sandman, could really be them, or it could be like Syndrome from The Incredibles, where Mysterio created them, and now he fights them to be like a hero. He's like, I am a hero, like I defeated this thing. And like, when you really know that he's the guy who made those things, you think, oh, actually, you're the villain. So that's why he kind of seems like an anti-hero in the trailer, but he might probably still just be like the primary villain in all of it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, good. Levi, what do you think of the trailer?
I'm pissed that it's even released.
Sure.
I like the trailer a lot. It's very bad timing. Poor marketing decision on their end. I mean,
Sony.
Listen.
Gotta be.
Marvel is so big to the point now that you could have released this trailer April 27th, and it would be okay, and people would still rush to see it.
Yeah.
It would have been fine. That's honestly what they should have done.
When does the film come out?
July
5th.
You're right.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just dumb, because I know that you want to build it up, but you're ruining an event. Almost, you're really taking away something from an event. I know one of my friends on Facebook was like trying to argue with me, and I'm like, nah, I don't care about all that. Yeah. I get that it was released. I understand that they talked about it. It doesn't mean that it's not taking away from the fact that you really felt something for these characters at the end of Infinity War. In the back of your head, yeah, they're going to come back. But some people didn't know that.
Yeah.
Some people, we still don't know who all is going to make it through. But we know that now Spider-Man is. And we know that Nick Fury is. Yep. And we know that, Happy is. Like.
And again, I don't know if it's what I've heard in the past. What Kevin Feige has said is that this is supposed to be like the beginning of the next phase for Marvel, and that this takes place in continuity after Avengers stuff. So I don't know right now if they're going to try to do something where they're like, hey, this actually took place right before Infinity War, so that way it doesn't people can watch it and not be worried about it. But the public perception right now is that Peter is alive and well, and whatever Thanos did has been undone to some extent. So yeah, you're right. It does kind of.
He has confirmed that this is a sequel to Endgame.
Okay, yeah.
Which
that
pisses me off. Yeah.
It does suck. Like, I don't even want them to play this in front of Endgame, because they totally will, but at the same time, it'd be so cool. It's like, this happened with like Black Panther. They were showing trailers for Infinity War before Black Panther, which makes perfect sense. But when you're watching this movie about this guy who's like, I have to learn to be king, and I might die in this. It's like, did anyone, and there were some people who were watching this that I know that thought he had died. Like Black Panther died in Black Panther. Like that moment he fights Killmonger and he falls off the waterfall and throws him. And I was like, okay, so those people, they aren't like us. Yeah, they aren't like us who are constantly thinking of like the big picture. They're like in the moment. And I think that's why they do these things. They market it because they're like, man, people won't think about this too much. But it's Sony. I'm sure Sony was like, hey, we're going to release this trailer. And Marvel and Disney are like,
these
please
are
don't.
Mostly comic book fans and mostly people
Yeah.
who love MCU. So, of course, they're going to be thinking of the big picture.
Yeah, it saddens me. I agree with you. It's stupid. But all that aside, what do you think about the actual content of the trailer?
Besides a little bit of maybe some CG sprucing up they have yet to do.
Oh, like
it
what?
Looks just like the elementals look okay.
Okay.
I wasn't totally blown away from them, and I think that they might have some more work to do. But I thought it looked really good. I'm excited to see something different. I think the lack of superheroes is cool. Just kind of like taking it back to kind of like a, just like I mean, we've had so many. I'm sorry. Back in the day, we're all like, "Oh, I want to see all of them together." And now it's just like, no, now we need to let them breathe a little bit.
Yeah,
they don't get enough screen time to just hang out and do their thing. So it's nice to take it back to that and let Spider-Man breathe a little bit more. I'm a big fan of Tom Holland. Big fan of the Spider-Man universe. Where is that now? Love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor, so I'm really excited to see what he can do as a villain.
Yeah,
or superhero. I think that like he might be both. I don't know.
He'll kind of play both, I think, in a way.
Yeah, he'll probably do his own thing. But it looks like he's got a background in chemistry. I don't know if he somehow found a way to use like Doctor Strange type powers, because that's what it looks like he's doing.
Kind of, yeah. And sometimes Mysterio stuff looks a certain way, but then like later on you find out it's like, oh, his gauntlets could make whirlwinds or something, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's like that seems pretty good.
So, I mean, leave it to Marvel to figure that part out, which is awesome. I love the way that they can take a character they're like, how are they going to put that on the big screen? Here it is. Yeah, I'm really excited for it, but not right now. I don't care about it right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. One thing I really like about this though for a sequel is that you take the first one, Homecoming, and it's such an intimate story where you have the Vulture, who they actually made scary, great on them, and Michael Keaton, and bringing Gyllenhaal into this, I think it's good because if you brought in another actor that really couldn't hold the screen or the attention of the audience, I think you'd have a big issue. But kind of this feels like a really, talking about games, this movie feels like a step forward for Spider-Man. Everything seems upped. It's a completely different country, completely different foe. And like the dynamics of his kind of relationships are changing. Even the fact that like Nick Fury is kind of like the new Iron Man in a way, which I think is also interesting. And Peter's relationship with MJ, there'll actually be like a romance that isn't kind of just moving the plot forward. I think that'll actually be like integral to this one. And I like that we see multiple suits. I like that there's the new red and black suit that he's got. That looks really good. And then I also like, it's almost like Spider-Man Noir, that black one where he gets the little eye goggles on there. I don't know if you guys like looked and noticed these ones. I just love, like, Spidey suits are really cool. And I'm sure Nick Fury was like, here, you can have this black one. We made it for you just in case you feel like spy mission or something. But I don't know, like, it seems weird to give him a mission mid, like he's hijacking their summer vacation or whatever. So that's kind of an interesting premise too, because the kids will be involved somehow all the time. Right.
Have you heard, I don't know how related this is, have you heard of the Tony Stark theory on this?
No, what's that?
So the theory is that he does die at the end of Endgame, which we're all kind of predicting. End of contract, whatever. And that he somehow puts his consciousness into an AI kind of form. And that his AI form takes over in like Spider-Man's suit. So he can still kind of coach Peter. And
whoa,
and that's and I'm hearing this on the internet. I'm like, read this, and I'm like, that is definitely something fucking Tony Stark would do.
Yeah.
I could see it happening. That way, Robert Downey Jr. can still be part of the world in his own little way.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because like Happy's like, hey, you're all alone. Nick Fury's like, what are you gonna do? You have to step up. So it makes sense. Like, hey, Tony Stark's gone. Spider-Man's really has to come into his own, and I think this is gonna be like a really like coming to age film for him. And
sure. I'd miss Karen. I like his AI right now.
She's funny.
Activate instant kill mode.
But I read that theory and I was like, whoa, that actually sounds like something that would happen for sure.
Yeah, it's just Robert Downey Jr. can collect paychecks. He just goes in for one day and records some lines and walks out.
His banter as the suit, and it'd be like a Venom thing, like his banter. And
God, yeah, that'd be weird. I don't know how I feel about that, Joe. What do you think? Would you want Robert Downey Jr. to just be like the AI voice, just in Peter's head, who's like, "Come on, kid, you got to stand up"? Like,
I don't know. It could be cool if they're gonna get rid of him somehow physically, then retaining him in some fashion would be kind of cool. But I don't know if Robert Downey Jr. wants to be done.
You don't think he does?
I don't think he does.
Why do you say that?
Because of the way he posts on social media and stuff, he seems to really live and breathe the Iron Man persona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is he'll just always be synonymous with that role forever.
It's kind of like
which is okay in most people's book.
Yeah.
Who plays Jack Sparrow? Oh my God, I am having a complete
Johnny Depp.
Right. Johnny Depp. It's kind of like Johnny Depp dressing up for the kids for like the, children's hospital. Like Robert Downey Jr. just did this for like a kids event thing too, and he dressed up as Iron Man. And so I mean, I think I totally agree with Joe.
Yeah, the nice thing about that is that he could go in just like a shirt or whatever. He could go in like an AC/DC shirt and just have his hair the right way, and people would be like, "Oh my God, it's Tony Stark!" And he'd be like, "Yep, it's me, Tony Stark." Like, he's like, "I did minimal effort, but I'm here." Yeah, the AI idea is an interesting concept, even though I think that if they are going to kill him, if it's the Russos' way, I think for finality's sake, they want to be completely gone, like completely wiped off the map. Because that would mean more, because if he's always kind of there in Peter's ear, like, oh, he's still around, kind of. But if like he's dead, and you'll never see him again, like that, I feel like it's just so impactful for everybody. Just being like, oh my God, Iron Man is like gone. Like, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting theory, though. I don't want to rule it out, because if there's money and people want to see him, and Robert Downey Jr. just brings people to the theater. Like I think it's wrong for anyone to say that the MCU would be exactly the same if he weren't in Iron Man. Like I don't even know if it would have existed, honestly. Like people came to see him, they wanted to see him, and they saw 2 and 3, and those movies weren't great, and they also made a ton of money, just so much money. Like 3 made over $1 billion, I think. It was like, oh my God.
The third one did?
I think so, yeah. It made a ton of friggin' money. And that was like a Christmas Iron Man movie.
People eat Iron Man up.
They love him. They love him. They love him so much. I think it's because he's kind of what all of us like selfishly, in a way, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but kind of like that selfish desire of what we want to be. We want to be the cool, like smart, super rich person who has an answer for everything at any time, and also has like all these cool tech gadgets. Like that's like kind of like, oh cool, that's what you aspire
Everybody
to.
wants their own suit so they can fly around freely and do cool
and they're like, not only we're gonna make him a playboy, but we're also gonna have him like, he's also gonna have humility, and he's also gonna have like Gwyneth Paltrow as like his smoking hot girlfriend. Like
I remember seeing the first Avengers back at college, and then I came home for that summer, and I went and I saw it with like my mom and my family. And afterwards, I was like, okay, Mom, I was like, you gotta tell me if you had to give me any Avenger, who would it be? And I'm thinking in my head, oh, she's probably gonna say something like Captain America, whatever. And she's like, Iron Man. I was like, what? And she's like, at the end of the movie, when he took that warhead and he was gonna sacrifice himself, she's like, I could see you doing that. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, you picked like the most selfless thing Tony Stark's ever done, and you're like, that's you. And I was like, thanks, Ma. Like, that's like his best moment too, that it's like always eating away at him in the third one, the PTSD. I mean, I had PTSD too. He fell a long way. But anyway, Spider-Man Far From Home, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I hope it'll be good. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm with you though, Levi. It does kind of bother me that this is out at all. It seems very Sony-esque to do this. One thing I did hear recently, though, is that Sony won't be taking Spider-Man away from their Marvel deal anytime soon, it sounds like, which is really good to hear, because I was really worried after this kind of 4-picture deal that they'd be like, all right, now we've got Spidey, we'll do Venom, and we'll just smash them together and, make that happen. My question is, how do you get Tom Hardy and Venom into this universe? Because guess what? Just do it. I don't care at this point. Just pull them on in, baby. Like, just bring him in, right? Am I alone there? Joe's with me.
Right. Sony probably wants to meld the two together and bring them together. but Marvel won't allow it. So they got to get Marvel to allow them to bring them together. And then it keeps stepping up the tiers from there. And eventually Venom's playing nice with the MCU.
Okay, I've done it. End credit scene. You shoot to destroyed London or Venice or wherever it is, because that's where they are. And they're kind of walking around. They're like leaving. They're going to get on the train back or the plane back or wherever, because they wouldn't take a train to the plane. Anyway, so but you see somebody walking around writing down notes and stuff because they bump into Peter, and it's freaking Eddie Brock, because Eddie Brock would cover something like this because Eddie goes around the world and covers stuff like that, and that's how they meet. And in that moment when they knock against each other, Venom kind of says to Eddie, like, he's like, oh, like there's someone tasty, like someone nearby, and he's just like, you can't eat a kid, like we can't do that, my God. And he'd be like, hey, you sound like you're from New York. He'd be like, yeah, I'm from New York too. Like, that's how you do it right there, right? Give me awards. Give me money. Like, I've done it. I've done it right there. You're welcome.
The worst idea in the world.
It's the best idea in the world. And then that way, when Venom 2 comes out, they call it Maximum Carnage. Spidey and Venom team up to fight Carnage. There you go. Levi, you're on board with this?
And then you have a successful Spider-Man franchise.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep. Well, I mean, not that Spider-Man's never been like, I guess the Amazing ones weren't like super successful, but they still did. Yeah. It did all right. Levi, do you want Venom? I don't know if we talked about this. Do you want Venom in the old MCU? Or are you kind of like, not for me?
Yeah, I've talked about this a little bit. I think the crossover. I'm trying to how to describe this. Marvel movies have like a certain kind of like really polished look to them.
Dude,
and
yes.
Venom was very like jarring in a good way. It was just like it felt like an older 2000s.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's got a grunge.
You know what I mean? Yeah, a little bit of a grunge to it. I don't know how well that would cross over, and like, I don't want to say Marvel's like candy to the eyes, but it kind of is. Yeah, it's appealing. Marvel's got a very like appealing look to it, and so I don't know. I don't know how that would do. I'd be interested for sure.
Yeah. I think Sony wants to do that. I think Sony really wants to do it if it's beneficial for them. That's the big part. And I think when we look at Spider-Man 3, whatever it's going to be, which will probably be a Sinister Six movie, because Sony has always wanted to do Sinister Six, I think they need to have Venom be around during that time. Just because Venom's always a part of the Six, but he can fight alongside Spidey to fight the Six, because that would be, oh man, what a cool way to end that trilogy, right? Like Spidey finally coming into his own, being like, I can take on 6 of these guys. Like,
if they don't develop more of a world around Venom or alongside Venom that melds well, essentially they'll do a sequel for Venom and then it'll die out.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
single-use throwaway type of thing.
I think they're going to try, Joe. I think if it's not the second one, it'll be the third one. They're going to try to do this because they're just going to have Carnage be the next one regardless. And I would love it. I would love it if Venom got in there. But I think right now, Spider-Man, even with this wacky kind of concept of him kind of going for a summer vacation with Nick Fury and fighting off Mysterio, like that's, I don't know, it's still really appealing to me. And I love it because it's just something we haven't seen yet. We just usually see Peter in New York for the most part. And that's why I love seeing him like in Civil War and Infinity War. You're kind of like, oh, he takes Spider-Man away from the concrete jungle and you have him try to do his thing. I think that's really cool. I think that's fun. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Okay, so hypometer check. We got to do this. We always do this. Joe, on a scale from 0 degrees to 100 degrees, how are you feeling about Spider-Man Far From Home?
45 degrees.
45 degrees. That ain't bad. I mean, it's not great, actually. Levi, how about you?
I'm going to Nick Lachey this and say 98 degrees.
Oh, my God.
Really?
That hot, dude. That's hot. Ooh.
I'm a big fan of like Spider-Man. I'm okay saying that. I've loved all the stuff Sam Raimi did. I respect it. I wish we could get something like from him again, but I really like Tom Holland. I don't know what it is. I just really do like Tom Holland. He's got a really likable personality, and like just bawling my eyes out internally when he was like, I don't want to go.
Oh yeah, that's a hard.
I don't know. There's something about him, so I'm hyped for it, and it looks cool. It's a different setting,
Yeah, that ending too, where Flash is all like, Spider-Man's the greatest. He stands up for all this stuff, and he looks over at Party's like, "Hey, what up, Jake?" or whatever. Peter just gives him like the thumbs up, like, "Yeah, thanks, buddy."
They do that humor well, and I appreciate that. So
that's why I'm excited for that third one, because I don't think it'll happen in this one, but I think in the third movie, Flash Thompson will find out that Peter is like Spider-Man, and he's gonna be like, his head, he'll just like sit down, and he'll be like, I've been what like like it won't register for him. That'll be great.
Yeah.
For me, I'll put myself at a balmy 80 or 85, I'd say. I'm excited about it. I'm not like 90. I'm not sweating yet, but I don't want to see any more trailers. Please don't do more trailers for this. Also,
I won't watch any.
Don't do any trailers for Endgame for that matter too. I know Kevin Feige said he's only going to try to show. They're only going to show like the first 15 or 20 minutes of that movie. I don't want to see it. Like,
no.
Just like Captain Marvel is the same. Just we're done. We're good.
The trailer they did for it was beautiful. I'm surprised you watched it, but I
had to. I was going to watch the first one, and then I'm out.
I'm glad that they were very respectful with it. So.
Yeah, they barely show you anything, which I like. Just enough. Enough. I wish she had her red hair though. That Scarlet, or Black Widow.
Yes.
Bothers me, man. That's like her thing.
Pepper Potts used to have red hair too.
Yeah, old PP. She switched it up. I never thought she was coming back, and then in Homecoming, she just popped out of nowhere. She's
gonna take over as Iron Man.
Maybe. Yeah. There's a lot of things they could do with that. If Peter was a little older, he'd be the new one, but also he needs that Iron Spider suit again. He just needs it all the time. Bring it with you, Pete. I guess that means we get to move on, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody listening here. Also, people, please weigh in on Spider-Man Far From Home. I know we had someone, I think Nathan H. from last week's podcast, he asked if we saw the trailer for it. Thank you for asking about that. Please let us know where you are on the hypometer. Tell us how excited or not excited you are. Are you with Joe? Are you kind of cold? 45 degrees. That ain't very warm. Or you could be with Levi, 98 degrees. Just feeling like Nick. Let's move into that segment of the show that I like to call, that Levi likes to call, Joe likes to call, somebody hit me with it, baby.
Timekillers.
That's right. It's time for Timekillers. It's games we've been playing, movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing. Joe, what you been killing time with, my friend?
Well, recently with you trying to fight Behemoth on Monster Hunter World.
We will kill him.
How much Final Fantasy stuff is in Monster Hunter now?
It's quick. Sorry, Joe. Just maybe Joe, you wouldn't know this, but it's Behemoth, new weapon and new armor, and you can make your Palico or Poogie look like a Moogle, one of the two.
Oh damn it! Now I got to get back into it.
Yeah.
And there's a gesture animation thing.
Thank you, Joe. The jump animation, which if timed correctly, you can dodge Behemoth's biggest death move, which somehow Joe dodged the ecliptic meteor yesterday. I don't know how he did it. He wasn't behind a comet, that's for sure, Joe. Leo and I were amazed. We thought we were about to fail in that moment, and Joe's like, I'm fine. I was like, what did you do?
Like I said, the spirits of all the slain Val Hazak.
They kept him alive.
What with Geralt coming, is that going to be too awkward now, or like are they bringing too many weird IPs into this franchise?
No, Joe, maybe you could speak to this. I was gonna say I don't really see it that often, and it's usually for like special arenas. Like they did Devil May Cry stuff, but you just basically got to pick a few different weapon loadouts, and then depending on the one you chose, it'd play like some Devil May Cry music for Virgil or for Dante or something, and you could dress up to look kind of like Dante and have his weapon like Rebellion, but it's not like it's too much.
So it's not like Link in Skyrim running around with.
No, it's not wacky dacky. Yeah, okay, no, it makes sense. Geralt,
That's what I was worried about. I was like, no, that's got such a good feel to the game. Don't do that.
I want Geralt of Rivia just to be like, oh, what's a Rathalos? Like, just be like, oh god, like I hate this. I hate Portals so much. But yeah, Joe and I have been hunting Behemoth a little bit here. But Joe, I mean, please continue with your Timekillers, my friend.
Oh yeah, a little bit of that. That's frustrating, but still such a good game. So what else? And then Call of Duty Blackout still sucked into that black hole that I'll probably never come out of.
Until next year's Blackout.
Until next year's Blackout version, whatever that is.
They got him.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. But have I seen anything film-wise lately? No, not really. Boom. Short and sweet for me.
So Joe needs a Black Ops team to help him out of his Black Ops hole. I've been disconnected.
We kicked him. He's gone. Levi, how about you, man? What have you been playing and watching?
I am still working on Game of Thrones. Almost done with season 7 and playing Overwatch, and that's about it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, what you've been streaming.
I did give up on Kingdom Hearts.
Which one did you give up on?
The first one.
Whoa,
Yeah.
That's really weird. Weird.
I dove into I was playing Atlantica, and I decided I'm so sick of this that I don't need to see the end of it. I know what happens. So I just dumped right into Chain of Memories, which is the exact same thing but in an easier format.
Is that the card one?
Yeah. Yep. And it's actually really fun. Yep.
Okay.
The summons are quicker. And you have to use a little bit of strategy, timing your Keyblade strikes, and
cool.
And it plays out just like Kingdom Hearts 1 did, but you're redoing it in Castle Oblivion in like this weird. But it's cool. I played it on the Game Boy like way back when. That's actually the game that got me into Kingdom Hearts. Because Tim was playing Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, and he let me borrow it, and I was like, there's a cinematic on the Game Boy Advance. Like, I was freaked out about that. Which
is weird because Tim was never into Kingdom Hearts, and I remember he's like getting that game. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just playing Chain of Memories." I'm like, "Oh, dude, you like Kingdom Hearts playing Chain of Memories?" He's like, "No, this is my first Kingdom Hearts game."
That's fucking Tim.
Yeah, I was like, "What are you doing, Tim?"
That's how you've always been. Just such a laissez-faire fan.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, I'm kind of into this thing for a bit.
Yeah.
Except when he was hardcore.
Thickness. It's a great song, but
he was into like Modern Warfare 2 or something, and he's like, I'm getting my KD up tonight to like 1.98 from 1.97.
And you're like, oh, what's your stats with the other games? Like, that's the only game I play.
Yeah, I'm like, I love you.
Anyway.
Yeah, but you've been streaming some Overwatch, and that's typically Wednesday nights, usually on Twitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, whenever I can right now. But Wednesday nights, and
you should get Joe to, I know Joe wants to play a little bit here and there. So
Joe, play with me.
Is that tonight, you're saying?
Yeah, I'll play tonight right after the stream, boy.
He's been playing the ones where it's like you keep like free for all, Joe, which you might like, but it always switches when you die. So like when you switch out, like when you die with Reinhardt, you might be Tracer or whatever. Or whatever.
It's an arcade mode called Mystery Heroes. I'm a big fan of it. For a bit, but I mean, like, yeah. So it gives you a chance to really try people out without feeling like an asshole, because if you pick Genji and like you're Genji that game, unless you really switch to something else, it gives you a chance to like really get good with people. And I've been forced to try characters because of that mode that I never would have felt comfortable picking up before.
Yeah, and you're pretty good with them, like almost all the characters.
But you're saying it's free for all.
No, well, that was one of the modes. You can also do team. So it's like Team Mystery Heroes, or there's Free for All Mystery Heroes. And there's almost a little bit of a weird strategy to it. Like if you need a healer on the team, like you might get yourself killed a little bit quicker if you're like Widowmaker and you need a healer. And you'll try to, you try to get that correct lineup. So.
Yeah.
And like, so if like a Roadhog is giving you a lot of trouble on the enemy team, everybody focuses that Roadhog, and now he has to switch to another character. He can't just come in and be Roadhog again and just decimate everybody. And that was like the big, hurdle you had. So it's cool.
I always like the Total Mayhem mode where you had like double health and your cooldowns were cut in half. And that was fun. I mean, it made for really tough battles to get your objective, but and the games went a little longer, but like it felt rewarding and more. And it was mayhem. It was fun. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I'll hop in with you one of these times.
Nice. Levi, is that everything?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
And for me, I found out that Splinter Cell, like not all of them, but one of the more recent ones, Blacklist, is now on backwards compatibility. So I was playing that the other day on Xbox. And I also have been playing Dante's Inferno, which is an old kind of basically God of War ripoff from EA a while ago. Pretty good. Very graphic, like a lot of interesting content in that one, but it feels really good. And it's so cool that you can play these games, and that's one of my favorite things about Microsoft is that backwards compatibility. I think that's one of the coolest things that anyone has done in gaming, because it's just like saying, hey, you know, you have this new system, but you can still play your old games. And I love that a lot. But I've been playing that. First major enemy in Dante's Inferno is Death himself. For those who are unfamiliar with the epic poem of Dante's Inferno, basically you come back from the war, the crusade, and you find that your wife has been taken to hell and you are going in after her. So you beat up Death and you kill Death and take his scythe and you go to hell and you go try to get your lady back. So I like it. Voiced by Graham McTavish, for people who don't know Dante, who's doing the voice there. And that's the guy who played one of the dwarves in The Hobbit. He also is the voice of Dracula in Castlevania. Pretty good actor. I like listening to him. But yeah, it's a pretty good game, pretty meaty combat. Honestly, I prefer it to something like Bayonetta. I know, oh my gosh, heresy. There's something, like you have a scythe, but you also have like a holy cross that you're like blasting people like holy energy. And then on some of these smaller ones, you get to decide like if you want to absolve their sins or if you want to punish them. So if you want to absolve them, you're like showing the cross, you're like mashing the B button, and then you get like good person points, because the skill trees break into holy and unholy, and the only way to get like higher levels of each thing is to not only get like the souls required, but also being like a bad guy or a good guy. But the punish. This is for Dante's Inferno.
Oh, Dante's Inferno. Okay.
Yeah, and then the punishment one is usually you put someone like on their knees and lop off their head with the scythe or something. It's usually really brutal. Or you're just like that. This is like, oh my gosh. And there's even like people in the world that you get to judge. They'll give you like 2 sentences of text and it'll tell you what to do. Like one of the last people I found was she fell in love with the brother of her husband, and he was abusive and found out and had them both killed. And she was in hell for that. And it was like, you have to decide if she's going to go to heaven or if she's going to stay in hell or go like further into hell. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it's like, yeah. So I saved that one. I was like, okay, you know, true love and all that. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been playing. As far as watching, I'm trying my darndest to finish freaking Once Upon a Time, which is a TV show I've maybe mentioned on here before, but it ran for 7 seasons on ABC. It was basically like when the fairy tale world meets like the real world and all this crazy stuff. I think like the creators of Lost might have been the writers or originators of it.
Elsa.
Yeah, exactly. They put Elsa in there. Some people were like, oh, that's when it got bad, is when they put the Frozen stuff in. I was like, I don't know, it's just more stuff. But it's rough. This last season, they do a time jump in it, and they have the best people from the previous seasons, but it's just not enough, and I could see why it faltered. But I've been trying to get through that on Netflix. Oh my gosh, it's been painful. I think that's pretty much everything, though. So that means we get to move into my favorite segment of the show, community feedback and questions. Time for a really good nonchalant timestamp. Oh my gosh, we got to these faster than normal, boys. Look at that. All right, so the question this week is one we were kind of talked about in that talking about games in 2019 we're not sure about, you know? And this is kind of, we're going to have this question for ourselves, but I wanted to know which ones won't live up to the hype or ones you need a little more information on before buying in. Corey Lang, our buddy on Twitter, he said, Sekiro for sure, only because it's my most anticipated game of the year. I have high hopes, therefore worried it won't meet my expectations. I was like, okay. Levi, are you going to get Sekiro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So you're going to be our Sekiro guy.
Yep.
And Ryan, he's going for us. We have another one about this too. He said, sorry, boys, but I'm worried about Anthem. I really don't think it'll live up to the hype. Okay. And this...
It's got some hype.
This is, I want to read this because Franken wrote this great passage, and I want to see if you guys, what you think of it. Because this was the question he posed to us. He said, #critical podcast. It's easy to say which games we are most hyped and excited for which big games in 2019 are we steering clear of? These should be games that we feel in our heart of hearts will be letdowns, like Fallout 76. Have fun with it. And he says, #2019 savage predictions. So I asked him, because he said, for me, that game would be Anthem. And he went on to say, well, there are many things that go into it, but for starters, it's coming out of EA. Granted, it has been developed by BioWare, which does, in the grand scheme, have a really good track record. But lately, EA has been really giving the kiss of death to their non-sports developers / franchises. We're looking at you, Respawn. Get out of there. That was I added that. With the exceptions of, say, Battlefield, also Anthem, to me, seems less of a passion project and more EA's answer to Activision's Destiny. Huh, interesting. We won't call it that anymore. I can't help but feel this game has a lot of smoke and mirrors going on where we all expect so much and get so little in return from the retail standalone game. Also, to support this, many who had tried it during E3 simply said it was all right. Nobody seemed blown away by it. Not to confuse any of this with me wanting this game to be a letdown. I wish for it to be a huge success and something I would want to play. But as it stands, and I felt this way for a while now, I just see this being a letdown. Is anyone here gonna try to defend? Is anyone gonna?
What did they say was meh? Destiny or?
No, he said that
Anthem?
he's worried that Anthem won't live up to the hype.
Oh, people said that when they tried it, it was meh.
It was only all right. It was fine. Yeah. Which I think the problem is with that, from what I'd heard too from other outlets, that they said the game felt really good, but they didn't really get a good feel for the story because they were at they're like E3, so it's kind of hard when there's all this yelling and stuff. And I don't know. How do you guys feel about that, Joe? Levi, what do you think? Anthem, are you worried about Anthem?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
My most anticipated game of the year. There's really not much else on my radar. I know we went over a few last week, but I'm flat out. I mean, this is like 80% of my. This is it for next year for me almost. So
besides Call of Duty,
besides Call of Duty or something like that. So and the Monster Hunter expansion. But so if this is a big letdown, which it doesn't look that bad. I mean, if it's anything, I like the whole. I'm forgetting the word already, but I like the whole suit dealio.
All the javelins.
Javelins, the mechanics, the customization, all that great stuff. That's all great. If the missions are anything like kind of Destiny-esque and you're in this environment moving through, fine. I'll live with it. It's probably not gonna blow me away, but I hope there's little nuances in there that they add that just push it over the ledge, so to speak. But
sure,
if not, so be it.
Yeah. I think it'll still be fun.
That just made me laugh because I saw a meme the other day on Facebook and it was like the Hoover Dam and water, and it was behind the Hoover Dam was like Game of Thrones season 8. Endgame, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man Far From Home, and then the water was like rest of the year. So it's like I definitely feel that if this game sucks, it's going to be big letdown and not a lot to look forward to.
Sure. Yeah. I think, because here on this channel, I don't want to say that we put story second, but I think for most of us, gameplay is king. When we play these things, we want them to feel good. We want to enjoy them. And I think that's the reason we go back to some of these things time and time again, like Halo or Monster Hunter. It's because it feels really good and we enjoy playing it. So I think if that is there at the very least, we will all have a pretty fun time with it. When I look at things like Division 2, though, that's where I think this could be the underseller for Ubisoft this year. And I think that game's going to have middling reviews. And even though I have a part of me that wants to play it, I don't expect much from it. So maybe that's not really the question that's being asked here, because it's not like a game I anticipate highly that it's going to be a letdown. That's the one that I think of being, if we had to pick between Anthem and this, I'd rather Anthem seems infinitely more interesting to me because it's just such a different game. It's much more fantastical too. And I'm all about that. That's all I'm saying. Also, shooting dudes in hoodies. Why does it take so long? I get it's an RPG, but it's like a dude with a hoodie with a baseball bat and he's running at you, shooting him with a gun in the face, and he's just running through it. And it's like, dude, no.
This guy's a monster. He's not real.
Exactly.
I think that works well for Borderlands because of
it's wacky. It's cartoony and stuff. But yeah, but this is just it seems like some desperate person's running at you, and it's just their stats are so high. They're 10 levels higher than you somehow. They've got a good.
That's why I'm nervous to try Assassin's Creed, because that sounds kind of like the same way.
It can be. Yeah, it can be like that, but it's not as bad.
Not as
It
bad.
is because it's RPG, like if you're fighting guys who are higher level than you. Also, Levi, they did just add something that you might like, is that you can change it now so you can edit the leveling, that it can make them on the easiest mode, like everything is 4 levels lower than you are, which would, in a weird way, be the most Assassin's Creed experience, because in the past it was like one-hitting dudes, and if you were 4 levels higher than everybody all the time, you'd probably do that. So they just added that in. So if you're going to jump into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, know that you have options to
I was hoping it was going to come to Games Pass. So
I wouldn't wait for that. Ubisoft, it sold really well. It might eventually, but if it's half off right now, dude, I'd put like more than 50 hours.
And not to say like Games Pass is where games go to die or anything.
No, they don't. Yeah. Well, like this year when Gears of War 5 comes out, I hope that you guys will get it for like a month, so that way we could like play through maybe the campaign or play some of the like horde mode or whatever, because I think that would be fun. But beyond that month, for you guys and maybe even me as a diehard Gears fan, that'll be like, oh well, I had my month, I'm kind of good, like I can step away from it. But anyway, guys, are there any other games you can think of that have a lot of hype surrounding them that you think are just going to be a letdown? Because that's what I thought Sea of Thieves was going to be last year. I was like, oh, Sea of Thieves, and then I was right.
I'm guessing Call of Duty 2019 will have a lot of hype to it and be, I don't know, could be a letdown.
Do you think it'll have hype though? I think people just kind of resign themselves with Call of Duty. It's kind of just like, we know what we're going to get. Yeah.
I don't know.
It won't have a campaign. I can almost guarantee you it won't have a campaign. If they had a campaign for it, they probably scrapped it. They're like,
this is different, but like there's a lot of hype revolving around this classic server for World of Warcraft that's supposed to drop in summer.
Oh, the vanilla one?
Yeah. I know a lot of people are really excited for it, but I feel like people don't remember the grind that was vanilla World Warcraft, and people don't remember like how hard it was, and you needed to really communicate with 40 people, and I feel like in today's world people can't communicate with 2 other people to have a successful game. So how are you going to do it with 40? Interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited for it because I played like not even a week, I played a couple hours of Battle for Azeroth and I was done.
Yeah, I remember you were gonna I'm gonna stream a ton of this. And then you played a little bit, and then you're like, I'm not playing any more of this game. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was like where I hung up my hat, and I was like, World of Warcraft, you're dead. And I can put you.
I'm out. Another game I think if it does come out this year is Pokemon 2019. I think there's a really good chance people are gonna be pissed. I think people will be pissed about that game.
I don't think it's gonna live up. Like we want Breath of the Wild and Pokemon mashed together, and I don't think that there's been enough development time to get that to happen, so that's not what we're gonna get.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to look at some of these other names that are popping up here. There's nothing like, I feel like this year coming up might not be as crucial. I feel like the front half of it's really loaded.
Darksiders?
Oh, Darksiders already come out.
Oh, it's stuff still coming out, not like games that like.
No. Last year for me, I'm not going to say I knew it was going to be bad. I expected it to be like a trimmed down version. I didn't think it was going to be like a technical nightmare though too. Like, or have a ton of bugs and issues. God, it hurt me so much. I don't know. I think, you know what, you're right. I think Anthem is primed to be the biggest failure because like it's got that Destiny vibe to it where it's like you're supposed to be checking in, playing every day. And I feel like a lot of people burn out on those games quickly. So I think people want it to be like a better new Destiny, but it's not necessarily going to be that. Plus, I don't know if there's going to be PvP. I don't really want to play player versus player in a game like that where it's like if Joe's in a Juggernaut and I'm in a Ranger and we're going to fight, like duel each other, and Joe just like sets me on fire. He's like, I'm just like, well, we're done here. That's the big one. Days Gone is also coming up. Joe, I know you brought that up last time, but I don't think a lot of people are excited for that anymore. I think that game is going to have middling to poor reviews, and it will die out fairly quickly. But I'm hopeful for Skull and Bones, though. I'm really hopeful for Skull and Bones because that is a cool game. That's a cool looking game to me. That's what I think anyway. I think that's pretty much all of it. Do we have any other games, guys? Is that pretty much it?
I'm not too worried about Kingdom Hearts because
Yeah, me neither.
we know what we're getting with Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
I would be 100% shocked if they fucked it up in any way.
Yep.
It's not going to be. Yeah, it's not going to be like groundbreaking, but it's going to be what fans wanted, and I'm not too worried about it. So.
Yep. I completely agree with you, and I'm excited for Joe to play it. See, I wish I got like multiple copies of these games, Joe. I wish I got even one copy of this game from Square. Thanks, Square. But I would love to send it to you because if for someone who's never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, it'd be so cool to have you just jump right into this crazy world, and you're like, I'm pretty sure Mickey's a good guy, but I don't know, he's got a weapon. Like, just jumping around.
I think it would be interesting to see Joe play Kingdom Hearts. Yeah.
God, you'd be like, I main the teacup build. I love busting out the teacup summon. He's just like, I'm just riding those around all the time. Oh my god.
You sound insane when you talk like this.
Dude, you gotta be crazy to play Kingdom Hearts. You gotta be a little crazy.
And then Kingdom Hearts 2, Joe would be like, I just kept summoning Tron and I didn't know what to do.
Exactly. Tron, I don't know why he's even in this game. People who love Tron right now, they're like, how dare you?
Tron is a person?
Oh, it's a level.
Yeah.
It's a level in Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah.
Isn't Tron also the name of that guy?
I don't think his name is Tron. No.
Maybe it's not. It shows what I know about that.
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges. I never saw that new Tron.
I'm picturing.
You never saw the new Tron?
Tron Legacy. I have to watch it because they're adding that roller coaster to Disney World, and I feel like I need to indulge.
You not see that movie? Wow.
It was absolutely epic.
I heard it looked cool. I heard it was all right.
It was all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
It's very shiny.
Whatever.
Joe, it's got like motorbikes that are really shiny. They're like
motorboats.
They got some motorboats. Yeah.
It was fine.
Yep, Tom Clancy's Division 2. That's what I'm sticking with. If anyone's hyped for that game, I'd check that at the door. Be careful. Be careful with your heart. Be careful with it. Except Ubisoft's got a ton coming out this year. That's all I gotta say about that. Skull and Bones, freaking new Far Cry, which they don't need to have.
Yeah, why is that coming out?
I don't know. Like Joe and I were talking about this. I was like, it's coming out too fast. I was like, it's been a year, and they're like, oh, let's just make it's like so colorful, and like Rage 2 is coming out as well, so it's kind of like fighting with Rage 2 to be like Borderlands. Just don't.
Isn't there a new Just Cause coming out too?
It already came out.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Did it? Yeah. I don't think anybody heard about that one. Anyway,
it's fine. Like I said, it's more of a lateral move. It wasn't like any better. Yeah, it's got problems. Anyway, that's going to do it for the show here today, I think, ladies and gentlemen, which might be, I'm proud of us. We've done a good job here today. We took it down a little bit because we could just introduce another segment and be like another 45 minutes, but we're going to keep it under an hour and a half today, which you're welcome. Except for the people who are counting on this to be like 2 hours. Sorry, Ryan. Yes, if you ever have a question or a topic for us to talk about, please always tweet them at us, which is using the hashtag Critical Podcast. You can tweet at me. I'm at JimmyGood013, or you can tweet at the official account for Critical Reviews, which is at GoCritical. There we go. I did it. If you want to tweet something at Joe, you can tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever, just like Beaver, only with an L.
Exactly. Or if you'd like to tweet something kind of sultry to Levi, you can tweet at
I'm at Levi Fletcher.
And please do, if you're listening to this right now, just tweet us. What hashtag should they tweet us if they're into that whole Twitter thing? Do we have anything?
Hashtag get a life.
No, not that. I like the 2019 Savage predictions because I kind of want to make that a thing where we just get a bunch of Savage predictions.
We like these kind of topics.
I do.
Keep us on our toes. We like it. Yeah. Make us think.
Joe, do you like that one?
I like that one.
Okay, so
that's aggressive.
It comes from Fragadin, but we're going to take hashtag 2019 Savage predictions, all one weird word, and just give us a prediction. You know what? It doesn't even have to be game related. I want someone to come out here and be like, Avengers Endgame is going to get a 13 on Rotten Tomatoes. I would love it. I'd be like, I'd be like, yeah. Like, critics go and they're like, it was completely obvious the whole time that it was all in Thanos' mind. See,
just a little thing about that. I just watched Infinity War on Netflix again. I still can't rate that movie.
Like,
I just can't rate it. Like, for some reason, there's no. I just feel like there's no way to really give it a score.
Sure. Yeah, because like it's its own thing, but it really is predicated on the fact that you know all these characters.
It goes so fast. I didn't realize how fast that movie was.
It moves pretty quickly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does. There's so much going on. It's very Lord of the Rings. There's like 3 different plot lines. They're all just.
I think it'd be cool if they were like 4-hour installments. These 2 movies.
Oh my, Joe! I wish. The problem is there's not as much money in it. They got to make it 2.5 so they can play it again and again.
Because Doug leaned over. We're like, "Where's Gandalf? When are they going to take the ring to Mordor?" I'm like, "Wrong franchise."
We want the Russo cut. We want the Russo cut. The Russos are like, there's 5 hours of footage. It's mostly just Thanos walking around. He's just like, he's like a tear, just walking around. We'd all pay to watch it. We would all pay to watch it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like anything, any deleted scene, give it to us. We want it. Let's see here. If you want to support the show, consider going over to our Spreadshirt, picking up a shirt, kind of like this one. I'm still in the process waiting to get my It's All Citrus shirt.
Or a cool hat like what I've got. I'm not wearing it tonight, unfortunately, but the hats are nice. Trucker hat.
Exactly. In the past videos, you can check those out. And if you do end up getting something, tweet us a picture because we want to see your beautiful face, with the hat on top of your head, or maybe a shirt, or maybe both. Don't do neither. I found that doesn't play as well, at least for me personally. It's like I put on a white shirt. People are like, put a shirt on, Jimmy, and I'm like, I'm wearing one. They're like, that's just your skin. Yeah, that's fun for me. Anyway, I want to thank the people who make this show possible. I want to thank This Is Dale for our intro, outro music, and the one and only Jorn Evers, who does pretty much all the art you see here on the show. If you want to support him, consider checking him out on ArtStation or over on Twitter at Jade Circle Art or at Niraj28. He's working on a comic, so check it out. It's like Venom and Chronicle. People who've been watching the show have heard me read that paragraph off time and time again, but it's supposed to come out this year, so I'm hoping for an update soon to give you a little more to wet your whistle, as it were. But if you want to support Jorn, you want to support Levi, Joe, and myself, the channel as a whole, consider donating to us over on patreon.com/criticalreviews. You can get your beautiful mug drawn into our card game, even starting at $1. Crazy, right? I can't believe it either sometimes, but here we are. You can see Levi's beautiful face probably scrolling through the screen right now. It's going. Levi, we put your card on there so people can see you because you look good. Welcome to the game, right? So yeah, definitely go check us out if you want to support us that way, or just share us around. Seriously, 1 retweet, 1 share on Facebook on a status, that helps oodles too. So thanks, gentlemen, for being here once again. Joe, I appreciate it. I know we talked about some things that you're really passionate about this week, and I appreciate you showing some restraint.
No, I was easy on Spider-Man,
I was easy on. He's like, I'm gonna rip that thing apart, that little kid. And also Levi, thank you. I just I'm gonna stop him right there. I could see it going. Levi, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. I know that you weren't sure you could be on this week, but love having you here. It was good.
Perfect.
Thanks, buddy.
Perfect.
Yes, once again, hashtag 2019 Savage Predictions. I feel like that should just be the show next week, where we come with like 5 apiece and we're just brutal, just like,
okay, let's do it.
We can do something like that. We'll see. We'll see if people want that. Let us know. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And we will see you down in the comments. And just remember to adapt and overcome. See you next time. Bye-bye.